everyone, and welcome to the Hangar 9 Corsair build video part 1. Let's go ahead and start the build. Alright everyone, let's talk about the wings. Let's show you what I've done and go over all the features that I'm going to add to this particular airplane. This is the left-hand wing with the monocoque removed. This is what it looks like, and as you can see they had this upper surface open. It wasn't sheeted with balsa, and the lower surface wasn't sheeted with balsa. Alright, and if you notice, it also doesn't have flaps. Okay, now let's talk about this right wing, but first let me show you this. What I've done essentially on the right wing is I installed flaps. I had to make a cut along the trailing edge here and completely remove this balsa and turn it into trailing edge flaps. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, now on the right wing, as you can see here, I have my 3-section trailing edge flaps, just like the Corsair has. They all fit nice on the trailing edge. What I had to do is, like I said, I had to cut this section of the trailing edge, make a spar. This is my spar. I had to add in all this balsa. Everything fits real nice, those flaps. I also sheeted the opened areas, as you can see, with 1/16 balsa. We also did the same thing on the lower surface, and of course there's our aileron servo cut out, but I've also sheeted the lower surface. Now, the flap assembly, or the flap servo, I set in, as you can see right there. All this was done with really no instructions. I kind of used the Top Flight size 60 Corsair as a guide to do these flaps, and it worked out great. Now, these wings, I'm going to finish the left wing the same way I did the right wing, and they're going to be covered in stitched fabric. So I wanted to show you what I've, before we move on to the next portion of the build, I wanted to show you how I started out with these wings and, how they came out. So let's go ahead and show you the next section of the build video. Alright everyone, we have the wings together, they're glued together, and we have the trailing edge flaps pre-installed. Let's go ahead and go over what we've got here. Alright, on the upper surface, as you can see, the wing skins are completed, sanded, ready to be covered. Our trailing edge flaps are pre-installed, and they're also ready to be covered, and I just wanted to show you what they look like when they're all fitted to the trailing edge section of the wing. Let's turn the wing over and talk about the lower surface of the wing. On the lower surface of the wing, we have our wing skins completed. We have all our servos installed. The 4 servos that I'm running here, the inboard servo is for your inboard flaps. Your outboard servo here is for your outboard flaps, and these are spliced together with a rod here, so these will work together with one servo being moved. That's basically it on the lower surface. Again, this whole wing is ready to be covered with the stitch process that we're going to use. Let's talk about the landing gear. This is the Sierra retract landing gear system that I've selected for the model. This is the landing gear in the retract position. This is the landing gear in the extended position. Let's go ahead and move over to the model, or to the wing, show you what it looks like. On the landing gear structure inside the wing, many of you are familiar with how the Hangar 9 Corsair has the gear pre-installed. We totally removed all that out of the wing, and we've modified it to fit the Sierra gear. So all it is a matter of cutting a little bit of structure out and then installing these pieces here. And this is what it's going to look like when it sets into that wing. Just like that, and you're going to install your 6 fasteners to hold it down. There is one other feature I'd like to point out. These are the landing gear doors. I have the left and the right. I made these out of balsa. They're going to set in just like this. Many of you are familiar with the Hangar, obviously the Corsair has these to add a little more scale to the model. So I built these out of balsa. There were no instructions, and that's how they're going to look. Okay, so now onto the flight controls. This, and obviously the tail feathers. This is the horizontal stabilizer. It has a monocoque removed. It's going to need to be skinned. This is the vertical stabilizer. This is what it's going to look like when it's skinned. So I just want to show you that I've added the skin on it, okay, and it's ready to be covered. Obviously, this is how your rudder goes in. So that's how it looks. Okay, so what we're going to do, what's going to be unique about this particular process is we're going to install tiny little pieces of wood here to simulate the ribs on the Corsair for the fabric flight controls. So that's what we're going to do on that. Obviously the same thing on our ailerons that are sitting here. So I just want to kind of go over that with you, what's going on with the tail feathers and the flight controls. Okay, so now on to the fuselage. Many of you are familiar with the Hangar 9 Corsair having one servo here. It has the one servo installed that's going to operate both your elevators. I've elected to go install another servo. So we're going to have a left and we're going to have a right servo that's going to run each elevator independently. Also, the rudders and tailwheel servos here, we're going to do a mod so that servo sets inside the fuselage. You won't even be able to see that. So that's what I got left to do that before we need to cover the fuselage. Okay. Now, one other thing I wanted to show everyone is this particular engine that I'm going to be running with this model. I've selected the Sato 170 radial. That's how it's going to look when it's installed. I did a lot of checking on this. It's going to fit just fine. It's going to look real good. And we're going to have the collector exhaust coming out the bottom. So that's what it's going to look like. This particular engine is 27.8 cc's, a little over 2 horsepower. And there is one modification that I'm going to have to do to the cowl. Obviously I have a magazine here with a picture showing you that's how the valve covers are going to stick out. All 3 of the cylinders on the Sato 170. So that shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so that's basically it. I kind of wanted to go over with you where I'm at with the Hangar 9 Corsair. We've got a lot more to do, so stay tuned for part 2 of this particular build video. I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for commenting and rating, and everyone, you have a nice day from TinkerManRC.